Okay, this is part 2 of our lesson 4 for subtracting integers. Okay, following along with me to complete the diagrams below, this is what we're going to do. Okay, we have 4 plus 2, and we did it on our number line. The first thing that we would do is start at 0, and if we were using our arrows, we would go to 4, and we would stop because we would go 4 units to the right. Then we would take another arrow starting at 4 and go over 2 units. And our units would be, our answer would be 6, and that would equal 6. If I discard or remove if, and please write this down, I discard or remove the 2. My score would decrease. By 2. Because I would still have a 4 left in my hand. Four plus 2 plus a negative 2 equals 4. Sorry about that. Taking away or subtracting two causes my score to decrease by 2. So for example here, if we want to get rid of this 2 here and subtract it, okay, if I take the same example and go over to 4, go over to 2, over to 6 with my 2, and I want to take this away. I want to take it out of there. I want to subtract it or remove the 2. Which would give me 4. So what I'm doing with my arrows is I'm going to 4, I'm going to 2, to 6, and then I'm coming back with my negative 2. So I still have 4 in my hand. Now here's what that means. Here's what that means. what that means is removing or subtracting. A positive card changes the score the same way as adding a card whose value is the additive inverse. Okay. Or the opposite. In this case, adding the corresponding negative such that four minus 2 equals 4 plus a negative 2. So in other words, if I subtract that 2 or I add that negative 2, it's the same thing. Now, I want to subtract, or sorry, add 4 plus a negative 2. Okay, 4 plus a negative 2. If I go to 4, and I add a negative 2, I am at 2. So if I discarded or removed the negative 2, my score would increase by 2 because I would still have a 4 left in my hand. In other words, 4 plus a negative 2 plus, sorry, minus 2, I'm taking it away, minus that negative 2 would equal 4. I'm taking away that negative 2. So taking away or subtracting negative 2 causes my score to increase by 2. And it's just what we did yesterday in our table. It's just repeating what we did in our table yesterday. Only now we're seeing it on our number line. So on our number line, if we were to subtract or get rid of this -2, okay, we would have left 4. And here's how we show that. We go to 4 and we come back 2. We're going to get rid of this. We are going to remove it or subtract. That -2. Okay, so that we have that 4 left. Sorry guys, the lights went out. I got to turn them back on. There we go. Okay, so it's the same thing as if we were to take that 4 go back 2 and then come back 2. Notice these are exact opposites. They go to 0, right? Yeah, they go to 0. And they're, what do we call those? Additive inverses. So that's what's going to be incorporated in here again. So that's how we're going to write it. So here's how we write that. So removing or subtracting again. A negative card changes the score in the same way as adding a card whose value is the additive inverse or opposite. And in this case, adding the corresponding positive okay, such that four minus a -2, in other words, removing that -2 is the same thing as actually increasing 4 plus 2. So our rule for subtracting a number is the same as adding its additive inverse or the opposite. So, sorry guys. There we go. So, here is our rule, okay? Here's our rule, and I'm going to put it up here, okay? So for subtraction, we should remember 3 words. Add the opposite. And here's how we do that. Okay, that's what we're going to do right now. And here's how you show that work. Should have 3 arrows to help you, and then you can get rid of them once you do this all the time. The first one is always stays the same. 8. The second one changes to addition. So we are going to add. We are going to change the third one to its opposite. The opposite of 12 of 12. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to use our addition rules. My signs are opposite. So we're going to subtract these two numbers. 12 minus 8 is 4. 12 is larger than 8. Its number is opposite or negative, and so is my answer. So if I were to do this on a number line, 8 plus a negative 12 is negative 4. I have 8 and I'm going to subtract 12 would put me at a negative 4 on a number line. Here I'm going to add the opposite, okay? And when I add that opposite, 3 other words come to mind. We are going to leave, change, change. Okay? Those are the 3 words you always want to remember. So we are going to leave that first number. We are going to change our operation to addition. And we are going to change that last number to its opposite. So now we are going to add our opposite, which is what subtraction is. And we are going to do leave, change, change to do that. So now 4 plus 2 is 6. So here we are going to leave our first number at negative 7, change our operation to addition, change our last number to its opposite, which is 9. And then we are going to add. So now our signs are opposite. 9 minus 7 is 2. 9 is the larger number. Its sign is positive, and so is my answer. So let's do some more of them down here. We have 8 minus 2. So we are going to do leave, change to positive, and change our last number to its opposite. The opposite of 2 is negative 2. So 8 plus a negative 2 is 6. So our next one is leave our first one at 4. Change our operation from subtraction to addition. Change our second number to its opposite, which is negative 9. And then add. 4 plus a negative 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 is larger, its sign is negative, and so is my answer. So basically what we're doing is we are changing it to addition so we can add, okay? So here we leave negative 3, change to addition, change our 7 to its opposite. Our signs are the same, so we add our numbers. 3 plus 7 is 10. Keep the sign of the larger. 7 is larger. Its sign's negative. So is my answer. That's why knowing our operations and knowing their definitions are so important, guys. You got to know your rules, okay? So leave, change, change. 9 minus 2 signs are opposite, so I'm going to subtract the 2 numbers and get 7. 9 is bigger than 2. Its sign is negative. So is my answer. To find the differences here, we are going to do the same thing. I'm not going to do them with the arrows now, but you should. So -2 plus opposite of -5 is 5. My signs are opposite. For addition, I subtract my two numbers and get 3. 5 is larger. Its sign's positive. So is my answer. Leave, change, change. My signs are the same. I add my two numbers. 11 is larger. Its sign's positive. So is my answer. Leave, change, change. -10 plus 4. Signs are opposite. Subtract the two numbers. I get 6. My larger number is 10. Its sign is opposite. So is my answer. So now here it says write two equivalent expressions that represent the situation. What is the difference? That is subtraction in their elevations. An airplane flies at an altitude of 25,000 feet. A submarine dives at a depth of 600 feet. So I can write this one of two ways, as a subtraction problem and an addition problem. So 25,000 minus 600, or 25,000 plus a negative 600, because of leave, change, change. Okay? Now, some key things to remember, and this will be the end of our lesson. Okay? When we subtract a number, it's the same as adding its opposite. Our key words: leave, change, change. Removing, subtracting a positive card changes a score the same way as adding its negative card. Removing or subtracting a negative card changes it by adding the positive. Okay? And for rational numbers, subtracting a number and adding it back gets you back to where you started. In other words, you're adding opposites to get to 0. Okay? So the best thing to remember when you're subtracting, add its opposite. And how you do that is by doing leave, change, change. Okay? That's the end of our lesson. And you can start your problem set. You have two things that you should have done. You got to do your spiral for day 1. Do your homework. If you get that done in class, then you can read or do think through math, because you do have one due today. Have a great day, guys.